Hi, we are going to talk about data visualization today. My name is Srinivas, and I'll do my best to make it as relatable, as human, as simple as it could be, devoid of any technicalities or all the buzzwords and all that. So let's try and understand the term data visualization in the first place. I'm going to use a lot of drawing, writing on the screen, and just to make it a little fun as well as engaging. So let me get started sharing my screen first. I hope you can see my screen anyway, but here is my favorite tool, Figma. Right. So when you talk about visualization, the first thing that comes to my mind is the human brain. I'm not great with drawing myself, but I'll do my bit. See, what color do we choose here? Let's go with brown, okay? So let's say this is your brain. Um, Not bad for a first time draw. Um, this part probably gets connected to spinal cord and all that. I'm not going to get into the anatomy and all that, but it's important to look at how the human brain's anatomy plays an important role in the field of data visualization, right? So, if you kind of Google any pictures of human brain and how different senses kind of take up specific parts of the brain, you would see that a large part somewhere around this area. Let me actually pick a different color. Okay, let's go with blue, right? A large part over this area is actually something that's got to deal with the vision part of our senses. You'll find other senses like smell, taste, touch, and hearing in different other parts. But there is a large part that's dedicated to vision, and for some mysterious reason, it's also the fastest. You can check it, with other experiments on your own. You could probably try touching a hot or cold object, or smell something, or hear something, and try and process that information and compare that to how fast you can process any visual information. I'll give you an example. Let's say you're driving and you see uh, an object in front of you. What's the response time you kind of take to hit the brakes and bring your vehicle to a halt? Same with a road signal, or even if let's say you're walking and something is flying towards you. It could be a ball or something, and suddenly you kind of react to that sort of a thing, right? So you probably avoid that object, or you try to catch the ball or something. But you would see that human brain is really quick when it comes to processing visual information, and also do that in a very, very efficient way. So that's one key reason for the massive success that you see around the whole field of data visualization. And I think it's beyond data science, even though data science has kind of upped the game for data visualization as a skill and as a practice. But if you go back and look at any sort of art forms or any sort of visually rich expressions, you'd see that data visualization as such has been in practice for a really long time. Maps are clearly a great example of it. Humans started kind of putting complex information through maps. I remember, why don't I actually just pull it up on my screen? Napoleon actually invaded Russia with his troops, and there is an amazing infographic built that captures the entire invasion and then the retreat. Obviously, it wasn't a very successful sort of invasion, but let's put aside what really were the results, but let's focus on what really happened. And this infographic does a fantastic job of really explaining that. So let me bring it up on my screen so you can see it. So this is the one. Let me make it a little bigger. Okay, that should fit. So you can see that Napoleon started with a troop size of 422,000. That was the size of the troops when they started. And Neiman, I guess that's the border of France, and probably they started off from there. And you can see that some 22,000 out of this 422,000 drifted away, and then the rest continued. Now, what happened as the whole thing kind of unfolded was the fact that Russians played it very smartly in the sense they made sure that the troops that are invading them don't have any supplies, especially the food. So they kept burning the the villages and the crops and all that. So these large troops, and half 400,000 is no small size of a troop, right? So these people had to really struggle to find their food, and that's probably one of the reasons you see that there are drifts happening even here. So from here you see that another 60,000 people drifted away, and the rest continued. So from 400,000 you have 60,000 drifting, so that leaves you with 340,000. And as you see, the troops are shrinking, which means people are dying. That's the truth. If they are not defecting or kind of moving away, they are, and still the troop sizes are shrinking. It's because of hunger mostly. But these people didn't have anything to eat. They had to really go out of their camps and search for food. And if they're caught when they're searching for food, they're simply killed by the Russians. So this is the entire Russian territory, and they're kind of moving. As you see, these troops are getting smaller and smaller. That's the size being indicated, and you see these small drops, beautifully depicted. Unfortunately, that's the death of people, but from a visualization point of view, what an amazing way of putting it, right? So from 400,000, it keeps shrinking, 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 and by the time they come here to White, sorry with these names, but yeah, this place, they are just about 175,000. And I believe there was a war somewhere over here, and they lost another 30,000 of their troops. And as they proceeded to Moscow, you see it has really dwindled down to 127,000. And even here, there was another conflict, I guess, and you see that it again dropping down to 100,000. So they reach Moscow finally, and they reach with a 100,000 troops, but I don't think Russians made it any easy for them even there. So without really getting to victory, they had to retreat from here. It's not like anyone won or lost. Again, that's my understanding, but let's focus on the infographic here. So they start their journey back with this 100,000 troops. But that's when they realize that something bad was happening, which is the temperature. So by the time they come here, the temperatures are already at 0 degrees. I guess this is not Celsius, it's a different measure that was used. But either ways, you can figure out that 0 is a 0 no matter which measure you go to, whether it's Celsius or Fahrenheit. But you can see that the temperature started dipping after this, as these people started retreating. And when they hit sub-zero levels, people find it extremely hard to survive in those really tough winter conditions. And from 100,000, it keeps going down. It's already 55,000 here, and then starts dropping really quick. So when they cross this river, they're only left with 24,000, and that goes down even further as they cross the river. But then they are met by this 30,000 troops, which kind of, you see them kind of getting diverted and then joining the troops again. Even with that, when they crossed another river from 50,000, you see it comes down to 28,000. And as they move forward, temperatures are getting even worse, and by the time they actually come back out of Russia, it's the worst possible temperature. You see that the troops have become so small. Luckily, these 22,000, probably some of them came back and joined, so you're left with 10,000 troops. But if you look at this chart, this infographic, wow, what a way of visualizing the whole uh, defections and then changes. I believe there is also something similar like this, which talks about some other invasion. And in those days, I think these were amazing case studies. You see, this particular visual captures so much information. And if you know the background and you're able to tell a story, wow, what a kind of a case study, right? So that's what is so amazing about data visualization. And we're talking about something that was created in the 1800s. This whole episode happened in 1812, 1813, and probably it was captured in 1869. I'm not sure, I don't read French as good, but I assume that it was done in 1869. But wow, you didn't have, even though it says Tableau here, you didn't have Tableau back then. That's quite obvious. But by the way, there is a small fun fact. You can draw such visualizations today. It's called Sankey diagram, which indicates the flow of anything basically. In this case, it's troops. So from this starting point to this point, what's been the change and what's been the kind of drift or splits that are happening. You can clearly highlight them using these Sankey charts. It's a very interesting type of chart that you have in data visualization. So that's it for today. I hope that was fun. We'll keep covering some other interesting things as we move forward. Thank you.